So, poets and pancakes. Poets refers to people who make or write poetry, and we'll come to know why he has chosen the idea of poets and pancakes. So, poets, poetry, and it refers to people. It refers to people who write poetry, or also people who are writers. And pancakes, we'll come to know pancakes actually are in our culture, it is some kind of a dosa, or it is and then it is a pancake, so it's like a round shaped dish wherein you put in honey on top, or you put some syrup and you can have it. In our culture it is also called pudla, round shape. But over here pancakes refer to a brand of cosmetics. In our culture, commonly now, fair and lovely, or fair and handsome, or something that is put on the face to make you up. And we know that make you up is called makeup, and makeup is what? Artificiality. It is not genuine. And that is what we find these days on Instagram. You look at somebody on Instagram, they look wow. And then if you see them when they wake up after the night is over, then you come to know that it was a ghost. So don't trust. It is very hard. Chala, I'll not go into the details of that. Nothing, nobody, no offense to anybody. So Ashoka Mitran is the author, 1931. I don't know whether he's still alive or not. We'll check. Is a Tamil writer. Tamil from Tamil Nadu. Recounts his years. Recounts means revisits or retells. Retells his years at Gemini Studio. So Ashoka Mitran is the author who worked at a film company. In the olden days, films were generally made in studios. Even today, all the big companies, even though they don't produce everything in studios, but you might know that બધાએ જોયું જ હોય ધુરંધર. So you will find at the beginning it says Zio Studios, and then he has some 826 or B26 productions. That is also a studio or a production house, Adityadhar, right? So but in the old days we did not have cameras. We did not have cameras which could shoot outdoor, and everything had to be shot inside because of the lack of technology. So we needed all the films to be made in a studio. So you'll find a lot of studios in our country, especially in Mumbai. There are so many of them, right? In his book My Years with Boss, so this is just a small excerpt from a book, My Years with Boss. What is the name of the book? My Years with Boss, which talks of the influence of movies, how his life got influenced by movies, because he was working in a movie studio. If somebody is working in a school, his life will be influenced by the school and the teachers. If somebody is working in a multinational company, his life will be influenced by that. If somebody has a friend who is a bunch of jokers, then he will also become a joker, because a man is a product of the 5 people he keeps company with. So he was working most of his life in a studio, so his life was influenced by films or movies on every aspect of life in India. So in India, they also say, a lot of our lives are influenced by movies, and we know that. And not just India, everywhere in the world, people are influenced by people whom they should not get influenced by, but they get influenced. You have cricketers, and you have footballers, and you have actors and actresses, and the way they walk or talk or behave, you want to do that, and that is how it influences our life. But it should not technically. It should not. You should choose, if you want to get influenced, you should choose the right influences. But we'll not get into that. The Gemini Studios, located in Chennai, was set up in 1940, just say maybe 7 years before independence. 7 years before independence. So it was a pre-independence studio. It was one of the most influential film producing organizations of India in the early days of Indian filmmaking. But this is a South Indian studio. South Indian studio. There is, I don't remember the name, but you might know the name. Hyderabad has a studio. Ramoji City. Ramoji City. And then in Mumbai, there is this film city in Goregaon. Hyderabad. And Goregaon. Mumbai. There's an entire city, or it's a place which they call Film City. But there are so many other studios, RK Studios and whatnot. So many studios. In Mumbai, you find so many studios. In those days, I have heard, I will just give you a brief, I don't want to get into the details. If you had to see a movie, sometimes you had to go to the movie theater for 3, 4, 5 days to see the movie, because the technology was not there. They would load a film, you see the movie, and there was no rewinding or equipment. So they would have another roll, and the equipment would get hot. So one day you go, you see one part of the movie, then they would put another part, and then they will put another part, and that is how 3 days when you go, you see a movie. Nowadays, our lives are movies. Nothing natural, everything artificial. But in the olden days, cameras were not there. Nowadays, people make films on iPhone. But in the olden days, there were no cameras, so everything had to be shot indoors. Its founder was S.S. Vasan. So we'll talk about S.S. Vasan. He is one of the characters in the chapter. The duty of Ashokamitran, hope everybody is not looking at me and they are writing down. The duty of Ashokamitran in the Gemini Studios was to cut out newspaper clippings on a wide variety of subjects and store them in files. So earlier days, when script writing or movie writing happened, ideas were not that easy to come. So Ashokamitran, he had this job of cutting down stories, poems, short clips from different newspapers, and all of that collection would go in a file, and then those files, whenever some writer needed some inspiration on that topic, he would be able to get those files. It's not like modern day ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok, where you can say, I want to write about this, or I want quotes on this, I need ideas on this, and you will get 10 ideas. In the earlier days, you had to make an effort to read a lot and to make sure that that reading is organized in a proper manner, so then when somebody needed it, you could give it to them. So we'll come to know in the chapter that because he had such a trivial task, this task is ordinary. Yes or no? It is not a sophisticated task. So people in the studios thought he had no work. But this was an important task in those times. Nowadays, if somebody has such a task, he would not be employed. So we know that, based on technology, the skills that we need to have keep on advancing. So that is why we need to keep on engaging ourselves in learning more and more in the modern day-to-day lives. Many of these had to be written out by hand. So because the printing was not proper, he would take the article reference, write the name of the article, write the name of the poem, write the name of the newspaper, and write it in the hand in a diary. Again, same way, to be used for inspiration later to write poems, scripts, ideas, stories, because they are a film studio. Many of those had to be written out by hand. Although he performed an trivial, insignificant function, he was the most well-informed of all the members of Gemini family. He knew about everybody in the studios or everybody in the organization. So your studio is like a company. He was working for a company called Gemini Studios, and he knew everything about the people working in the Gemini Studios. And thanks that we don't have the entire book. He has written this entire book, My Years with Boss. We just have a small part of that. And thanks to whatever, we should be happy. Clear? Chalo. So we'll not look at the words right now because we'll talk about all of them in great detail. Pancake. We already talked about it. What is it? It is a cosmetic brand, and we'll come to know about it. Cosmetic brand. Pancake was brand name of the makeup material that Gemini Studios bought in truckloads. Truckloads means huge quantity. Huge quantity. Truckloads. Large quantity. Now we'll come to know why they needed truckloads of pancake. Greta Garbo. It's a name of an actress, and if you read over here, you will find Swedish actress in 1944. She received an honorary Oscar for her unforgettable screen performances. The Guinness Book of World Records named her most beautiful woman who had ever lived. She was also voted the best silent actress of the country. So Greta Garbo must have used it. Means why is he referencing Greta Garbo? Because she was somebody old or in the old times. So what does that say about Pancake? That this brand is not available now. Pancake is not available now. Nowadays you see Garnier and L'Oreal and whatnot. Every day another brand comes up. I don't know. Because this is a business class, you must have come across this Shark Tanks. In the Shark Tank, I don't know when, I don't watch it much, but there was a lady who came and he or she got this brand called Sugar Cosmetics. And right now, if you see, it is going down the drain. Because what is cosmetic? There are hundreds and thousands of brands out there, and to really stick out, you need a lot of money. And that is why we need to stay away from products which don't have true value. So, Greta Garbo must have used it. Miss Gohar must have used it. Now, who is Miss Gohar? An Indian actress whose performance was widely appreciated in the Bimal Roy's Devdas. So, Bimal Roy is a very famous director of the past, and he had directed a movie called Devdas, and she acted in it, and she won 3 Best Actress awards for her acting. She is now an active politician. I don't know if she is still alive. No, sorry. Miss Gohar is somebody else. This is something about Vaijayanti Mala. This is something about Vaijayanti Mala. So Miss Gohar is another actress of those times. But Vaijayanti Mala was a famous actress, and she had won awards for Devdas, directed by Bimal Roy. Dhurandhar by Aditya Dhar. Devdas by Bimal Roy. Chalo. Vaijayanti Mala must have used it, but Rati Agnihotri may not have even heard of it. Now, Rati Agnihotri is a more modern day actress. So you also might not have heard about her, but when I was young, she was still acting. So maybe 1980s. So anybody before Rati Agnihotri, who are they? Pre-1980s. Can you understand? Yes. So pre-1980s, what does this tell us about Pancake? That the brand existed before 1980. After that, what happened? It went out of business. And right now, if you ask for Pancake brand, you go to McDonald's, and if they are still serving pancakes, they will give you pancakes. But these are not the things that you would put on your face. It is not a cosmetic. So I don't know, but 2, 3, 4 years back, McDonald's used to serve pancakes in the morning for breakfast menu. Barabar? The makeup department. Now he talks about this to just give one context. That pancake was used for makeup. It was bought in a huge quantity, and nowadays if you ask for the brand, it is not available. The makeup department of the Gemini studio was in the upstairs of a building that was believed to be Robert Clive's stables. Robert Clive was one of the uh, commander general of our country, right? A lieutenant general, commander general. And stables. Stables means horses, where horses are kept, right? So it's like horses are underneath, and above it there's a floor. That is where the Gemini Studios makeup department was. Barabar? A dozen other buildings. So on the side, on the back, in the front, there were a dozen other buildings. Means many other buildings. Many other buildings. A dozen other buildings in the city are said to have been his residence. Whose residence? Robert Clive. One of them was this Gemini studio. And the stable was converted into the makeup department of the Gemini Studios. Now, why makeup is being referred here? Because we are talking about a makeup brand. In the movie, people have to be made up, and that is why they are talking about makeup. And that is why the name of the chapter is Pancakes. See? Poets and pancakes. We'll talk about poets, but pancakes. Yes, first he talks about pancakes. For his brief life, this is all about Robert Clive. An even briefer stay in Madras. So he lived for a short time, and he lived for an even shorter time in Madras. This is what it means. Hope you are writing it down. Robert Clive seems to have done a lot of moving, one place to the other. He kept on going because he was a big man. Besides fighting some impossible battles in the remote corners of India and marrying a maiden means a woman or a girl. Her name was Margaret M. in St. Mary's Church in Fort St. George in Madras. So he also got married in Madras. But this is nothing related to chapter, it's just a historical fact, right? So he was the commander-in-chief of the British Army in India from 1746 to 1774. So now you understand, very long time ago. And then we came to 1940 because when was Gemini Studios established? 1940. So this was very, very long time ago. Why is it there? It is there. It is there. They just want to reference that it was somebody's house, some famous person's house, or his building which got converted into Gemini Studios. The makeup room. Now we come to the makeup room. It was the Robert Clive stables, and on the top floor there was the makeup room. Now he is describing the makeup room. The makeup room had the look of a hair cutting salon. Now everybody is gone to hair cutting salons. Nowadays modern. We just talked about that Ahmedabadi guy. He wears what kind of clothes and what not, and I don't know how much he would charge for one haircut, and I would not allow him to touch even one strand of my hair because it's limited. Hair cutting salon with lights at all angles. Nowadays, cameras at all angles. He would make a small girl sit and then talk to her, give him candy, and then earn 5,000-10,000 rupees for it. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a bad person. It's just that we are just bringing him because he's a modern day person. With lights at all angles, around half a dozen large mirrors. So everywhere there were lights. And then there were big mirrors. Why do you need big mirrors? Because you want to make somebody up. And why there were a lot of lights? Because in the lights you can see a person clearly. You can see a person clearly. Lights, you can see person clearly. They were incandescent lights, white with heat burning. So very powerful white lights with heat burning. So you can imagine the fiery misery of those subjected to makeup. So now this is a very common question in the exam. Fiery misery. What is fiery misery? Fiery means heat or burning. And misery is the misery caused by the hot weather in the room. Now imagine if you don't have an AC, it is already Madras, so it is very hot place, and you have so many lights and they are beyond measure. What will happen to the room? Very, very hot. And people would perspire. So the room was called a fiery misery, or it can be called a hot gas chamber or a very hot place. So people who were in this room who came for the makeup felt very, very hot. And the word being used for that is fiery misery. So they used to perspire or they used to sweat like anything because of the condition of the room. Very, very hot because of the incandescent lights and mirrors. Mirrors reflect light. You are not physics students, but lot of hot light and lot of mirrors. It will make the room even hotter. So the makeup department was first headed. Now there is a hierarchy they mention. The makeup department was first headed. Head of the department was a Bengali who became too big for the studio and left. Too big for the studio means studio became small for him, so he joined a bigger company or a bigger studio. So maybe he went to RK Studio. But he headed the makeup department at the Gemini Studios and then he left. He was succeeded, then means second. Succeeded over here means the next head of the department was a Maharashtrian. So first it was a Bengali, second was a Maharashtrian who was assisted by a Dharwar Kannadiga. Now Dharwar is a place called Hubli in Karnataka and Kannadiga means a person from Karnataka. This chapter has a lot of details and if you don't write, you will bang your head when the chapter is over. So please take notes. First Bengali, second Maharashtrian, but Maharashtrian was assisted. He had an assistant. Who was the assistant? From the place Hubli in Karnataka. Also near an Andhra. So on the borders of Andhra Pradesh. And he was assisted by a Dharwar Kannadiga and Andhra. So 1, 2, the Madras Indian Christian 3, Anglo-Burmese 4, and other local Tamils. So first it was led by a Bengali. Second it was by Maharashtrian. And he had 1, 2, 3, 4 assistants of different categories from different places. And then a lot of other Tamils. Barabar? Yes. Hope you are writing down. All this shows that there was a great deal of national integration long before AIR. AIR is All India Radio. And Doordarshan began broadcasting programs on national integration. Now, this is a piece of history you would not know, and you might want to note it down because it is important that after we got independent, our country was not internally safe. And the reason was that because we are a big country, a diverse country, people amongst each other fought a lot. There were a lot of riots. Punjabis may not talk with Gujaratis, Gujaratis would not talk with Bengalis, Bengalis would not talk with South Indians, and all of the problems created a lot of havoc in our country. And that is when India was just starting up in terms of public broadcasting. So there were no TVs. So first people used to tune into radios through the All India Radio. And on the All India Radio, they used to continuously talk about we should accept each other, we should accept each other's languages, we should be one, we are one country. And all of this was because the Britishers had just left. And then after Doordarshan started our own television channel, which like Sir said day before yesterday, used to work for only 2 hours a day. On that also there were programs on national integration, which used to talk about we should accept each other. Sikh and Hindu are brothers. Hindu and Muslims are brothers. Muslims and Christians are brothers, because we had a lot of fight in our country, and we had riots and everything rampant in our country. And that is why the public broadcasting department of the country kept on continuously advertising. Like right now we get these advertise, SIP sahi hai or mutual fund sahi hai. In those days it was a time where they used to keep telling people that we need to accept each other. But he's trying to say that in the Gemini studios there was no problem. In the Gemini studios, all the different people, so many different types from different places, used to work together without any fight. Without any fight. That is the idea. Hope everybody understands this and they are taking this down. Why is he relating national integration? He is saying that even before Doordarshan and All India Radio started broadcasting these programs, we had problems in our nation. But at Gemini Studios, all the different people from different parts of the country, especially in the makeup department, worked together without fighting. So nobody had to come and stop them and then tell them not to fight amongst each other. Everybody lived as brothers and sisters. Clear? Yes. The gang. So now he's making fun. This gang, this group, different people, of nationally integrated makeup men could turn any decent looking person into a hideous crimson hued monster with the help of truckloads of pancake. Now again, makeup should make a person look better. But these people applied makeup, and we'll come to know. I'll show you a picture if possible. They used to make these people up in such a manner that they look like monsters. They look like monsters. So idea of makeup is what? To make you look a better person. That is the idea, right? To make you look more beautiful. But over here, they used a lot of pancake, which is not the eating pancake, but the cosmetic. And they applied it in such a large quantity onto the faces of the men and women that they look like monsters. They could turn any decent looking, normal looking person into a hideous, ugly. Hideous over here means ugly. Crimson color. Crimson means reddish, orange color. Hue means color. Monster. With the help of truckloads of pancakes. So they used to put so much of pancake on their face, and instead of looking beautiful, they used to look like monsters. And he's making fun of them. And a number of other locally made potions and lotions. Potion means again a liquid. Lotion is also liquid. Sometimes potions are for healing or poisonous properties. So pancake was maybe a brand, so they used it, but they also mixed it up with other things. And they mixed all of this up and put it up on the faces of the people so that they look good on the camera. But actually, Ashoka Mitran describes them as they look like monsters. Those were the days of mainly indoor shooting. And we discussed this. Why indoor shooting? Because the cameras were not available. Shooting equipment was not available. Outdoor shooting was not that easily possible. And only 5% of the film was shot outdoors. Why? Again, technology. Or if you want to buy those kind of cameras, they were very, very, very costly. And nowadays we carry 3, 4, 5 cameras in our pocket. With one phone, you have different kinds of cameras and positions in the pocket. But in the olden days, they were very, very costly. Even a still camera, single camera, was very costly. Imagine you wanted to produce a film. That was very, very costly. So only 5% of films were shot outdoors. I suppose the sets and studio light, the indoor sets over here, that is what he means. The indoor sets and studio lights needed the girls and boys to be made ugly, look ugly, in order to look presentable in the movie. So actually, when you see them not on the movie camera, not in the cinema, they used to look ugly. But when this was put and then they were shot, they looked beautiful. But otherwise, if you would have seen these people in natural light with the pancake on their face, they would have looked ugly. So he's making fun that I suppose the indoor sets and studio lights in those days needed the girls and boys to be made look ugly in order to be presentable in the movie. A strict hierarchy was maintained in the makeup department. Everybody had to follow the hierarchy. You could not do a gangplank. You had to follow the hierarchy. Even maybe when there were emergencies, but hierarchy. A strict hierarchy was maintained in the makeup department. The chief makeup man made the chief actors. The main makeup man put pancake on the face of main actor and actresses, hero and heroine, chief actors. Are you getting the point? And he's saying made the actors and actresses ugly. See, he's making fun because they had to put a lot of pancake and actually they looked ugly. His senior assistant, the second hero and the heroine. Second hero and the heroine. The junior assistant, the main comedian, and so forth. So, main makeup man, only the main actress, his assistant, the other second hero, third the comedian, and so on and so forth. The players who played the crowd means, sometimes there's a dance and you see 5-10 people dancing behind. Those are the crowd. If it's a city scene or a village scene and 2% are acting, but you have to show a village, then the other people are the crowd. The players who played the crowd were the responsibility of the office boy. Office boy over here is a good word for the clerk or the peon. Barabar? Clerk or the office boy or the person who does all jobs, small and big.
So in the last paragraph, you learned that the chief of this makeup department had 4 assistants. So who are they referring in this paragraph? The chief.
You don't have to connect them. Here, just there. So if he had 4 assistants, he would make up the main hero and heroine. The second would do the second hero and heroine. The third would do the main comedians, etc. The fourth maybe do the villains, and the rest of the people would. It is just given. We don't have to link. It is not logical. He's just explaining. So here you don't have to be logical. But yeah, they would have some of the other job. But all the crowd players were done by the office boy. Now office boy becomes very important over here because he is one of the main characters. We'll have to study him in detail. So everybody else was done by the office boy because they were the crowd. They were not important people. Okay? Even the makeup department of the Gemini studio had an office boy. He is trying to say that generally you would not keep such people. Only big organizations where there are a lot of people, you need such people. But otherwise, Gemini studio had one office boy. He would do odd jobs. If somebody would need tea, he would have to get the tea. If somebody would need something, he would have to do the thing. Odd jobs. Clear? Office boy. On the days when there was a crowd shooting means if there was a dance and there was a lot of people singing and dancing behind the hero and heroine, that is called the crowd shooting. You could see him mixing his paint in a giant vessel. He would take a big vessel and then in that he would put pancake and he would mix it like as if he was mixing some kind of cement and all of that, right? Or if you want to paint something big and you have a big container and you put everything, giant vessel, and slapping it on the crowd players. Now why slapping? It's just randomly putting. Like you're whitewashing a wall. He used to whitewash the faces of the. And why is it funny? Because see, he's not a makeup guy. He's an office boy. And why he is given the task of painting the crowd players? Because they are insignificant. Your camera will never focus on these people. But still, if they are on the camera, they need to be made up. So you would just take a big brush like you use for the painting of the wall, dip it in and just paint them. And now you see the connect, how they would look bad. Because makeup also is an art. Yes or no? They hide every single thing. So if I get makeup, don't imagine. But they will hide my face, and so every single person who puts makeup, when you are seeing them in makeup, they will look nice. They will look nice. But otherwise, when it's not applied, it is all artificial. Coming back to the point, office boy, because he was insignificant, himself was insignificant, because what did he do? Odd jobs. So whenever there was a crowd shooting, 10, 20, 30 people to be made up, they gave him the task to make up. And what would he do? He would just slap the faces of these people like he was painting a wall. And you now see the connect, how they were made to look ugly in the camera or on the sets. Chal. Slapping it on the crowd players, which means again putting on in a large quantity. The idea was very close to pour on the surface of the face in the process of applying makeup. To close every pore. The smallest of the pores that we have on the skin, they generally are not visible, but the idea was not a single place on the face should be there where the pancake was not applied. And also it was not even, it was uneven. So sometimes you would have a big chump over here, and here it would be very flat. So because he was an office boy, he did not have all of these skills. The idea was to close every pore on the surface of the face in the process of applying makeup. He wasn't exactly a boy. His name was office boy, but he was not a boy. What does that mean? He was in his early 40s. So maybe 40s to 45s. He was this old. But when he joined the company or the Gemini Studios, he joined as a young man. Young man. And he has stayed office boy, and he's still a clerk for 20, 30 years. So the boy has been converted to a man, but people still call him office boy because he joined as the office boy. He wasn't exactly a boy. He was in his early 40s. Having entered the studios years ago in the hope of becoming a star actor or top screenwriter, director or lyrics writer. See, everybody in the film industry, nobody wants to do this job. Everybody wants to become an actor or an actress or somebody significant. And we know it is very, 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 very hard. And when you guys talk about becoming a footballer or a musician, we laugh at it. But we still tell you that you can do something. Right? For example, in the school we have a creative assembly, and you like acting, act. If there is Udan and if you like singing, you sing. If you like singing, the bathroom is yours. You sing. No problem. No problem. But you cannot make careers out of it, because these careers are very short-lived and very, very, very difficult to get into. Sometimes you don't get anything for a very, 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 very long time. It's a bad profession to be in if you want to just make some career out of it. Right? So this tells us about the sorry state of movies and acting. And anyways, movies and acting and everything, are they all real? Everything is artificial. Even the TV series that our moms watch, in that, when they wake up, they have makeup. How come? And every day the wife's husband has a new car. They have a big office space. They have a problem at office. They make stories. You know, the saris these women wear, your mom feels like, oh, I also feel the same way. क्योंकि छाछ भी कभी दही थी, and things like that. They wear different kinds of saris every day. It's not possible. समझ पड़े छे? It is not technically possible. But why do common people like you and me get attracted to such life? Because they show artificiality of life. And life is not like this. Life is not like this. It is not like this. And that is why movies attract people, because everything in the movie is artificial. Every single thing. Nothing is real. He was a bit of a poet. So he's, he wanted to do a lot of things, but Ashoka Mitran identified one of his skill. He was a bit of a poet. He could write poetry. That was his skill. But because he could not do much and he wanted a job, he started as an office boy, and now he has grown big and still he is an office boy. And that is what we are trying to tell you, that such fields are very, very narrow in terms of career growth and trajectory. In those days, I worked in a cubicle. Cubicle means a small office covered on 2 sides, 3 sides, cubicle. Small desk. 2 whole sides of which were French windows. Now, French windows are windows that start from the top to the bottom. Full windows are called French windows, generally. I didn't know at that time they were called French windows. So it is good if you have a complete view outside, it looks nice. He had a desk somewhere and then they had French windows. Seeing me sitting at my desk tearing up newspapers all day in, day out, most people thought I was doing next to nothing. Remember in the first part we said he was cutting newspaper clippings and collecting story ideas for people. And because he was doing such a chalu samanya job, people thought that nowri no che, kai kaam nathi. He has no job. He's doing time pass. Right? People thought so. It is likely that the boss thought likewise too. The boss also thought that way because it was not an important job. So anyone who felt I should be given some occupation means some work, would barge into my cubicle. Barge means come in without permission. So anybody, because they thought he was free and anybody thought he needs some work, they would come into his cubicle and deliver an extended lecture. They did not give him work technically, but just did some time pass. They would just come and talk and make his day pass. They would come and talk. And one of the reasons why he was so well connected with everybody was because people thought he was free. In Gujarati, Hindi, I don't know. Panchat Masi, Panchat Su, somebody who is a gossiper. They would come and just gossip about everybody in the Gemini studios to him. So he got well connected and he knew everything about everybody. Right? There are people like that who can do anything but just think about all people, other people. And they would ask, what is he doing? What does he do? What does that man do? And there are people in your society too like that. And those people can never remain happy because it's a complete waste of time first. And second, you should not be talking about other people. You should be actually meaningfully engaged in your own life, doing something worthwhile. If it's painting. If you want to sing. But why talk about other people? But there are people like that. And in the Gemini studios, also people thought that Ashoka Mitran is free. So what would they do? They would just come and talk and gossip about everybody in the studios with him. Okay? Got it?
Yes.
The boy in the makeup department had decided I should be enlightened. I should be made aware. Office boy used to come to him very oftenly. Made aware of how great literary talent was being allowed to go waste in a department fit only for barbers and perverts. So, the office boy again gossiped and he was dissatisfied with his life and work. Why he was dissatisfied with his life and work? He had come to the studios with the idea of becoming a hero or a comedian or a villain or something main, and he never could get that break. So anybody new who came in, he always thought that those people are less talented than he is. And his talent is not being used in the studio. So he used to tell bad things about other new and old people to Ashoka Mitran. That this department is not good. They should have taken him in the department, but they have taken all barbers, means low category people, and perverts, or perverts are people who are distorted or corrupt people. And what is he trying to say? That the people don't realize the talent he has, and they are hiring people from outside or within the company, people who don't deserve to be a poet or a writer or an actress or an actor. Whereas he deserves it, but he did not get the opportunity. So all of this, he gossips about all of this and his problems to Ashokamitran. Why? Because he feels Ashokamitran is free and he doesn't have anything to do. Soon I was praying for crowd shooting all the time.